Hi, today we'll be doing a code in Java. It will be the continuation of the Java Data Structures video series. Today we'll be doing a Hashmap or a hash function, so we'll be creating one from scratch using an array as the structure to hold the Hashmap. So we'll start with a class called book. So we're going to make an object class. We'll just call it book. And our hash map is going to store like some data. It'll be like a string and some numbers. And we're just going to create a key to access it. So we'll use some of the methods to create a key. So let's just start with the object class. So I'm using IntelliJ. I'm going to right click my src folder and create a new class. I'll call this one book, book.java. Alright, so public class book, we should be using generics again, so public class book of type T. And it's just an object class we're going to be storing these objects in the hash function. So we'll say that the book has a string name. And we'll say that we have, actually it's going to store two strings, but it's going to be a number in the string. So we'll just say it's a string ISBN. We could have probably made it integer, but that's fine. So here we'll create the constructor. So we'll say public book. So public book, and it'll take some parameters, a string name and a string ISBN. So we'll say this dot name points to name, this dot name points to name, and this dot ISBN points to ISBN. Here we'll create some accessors and mutators, so getters and setters. So we'll say public string get name. We'll return name. Then we'll create a setter here, public void set name. This will take a parameter. String name, here we'll say this dot name points to name. Here we'll say public string get ISBN. Return ISBN. You can say this as well, return this dot ISBN, but you don't need to. Here we'll set the ISBN. It'll take a string ISBN. We'll say this dot ISBN points to ISBN. ToString, maybe we might need it, maybe not. We'll just write one anyway. So public string ToString. You can override it if you want. Up here, just say @override. That's it, I think. Should turn green and then it's good. So here we'll say return name plus a space plus ISBN. That's it. So it returns a name plus a space between them and ISBN with a plus. That should be all. So we'll get into the class, the hash function class. This one does require the use of the element not found exception and the empty collection exception. So I'd recommend starting this video series from the beginning if you can. If not, the empty collection exception looks like this. This is from an old assignment, so don't worry about that. So it's just this stuff here. So it just represents an empty collection exception. It's an exception class, extends runtime exception. It has a constructor here. And again, I recommend watching this video series from the beginning. So start with the array stack, if not the link stack. So I'd start from there, and then you'd also need the element not found exception. So hopefully you can see all of that. Just in case you don't have the time to watch all those. What's this up here? Okay, this is just from my class, so we'll just leave that. So okay, so this is the element not found exception. It's the same thing, it's just an exception class. We're going to throw this exception when we want to. Actually, I'll move that down there too. It extends runtime exception, so it is a runtime exception, and yeah, that's it. So I'm not going to explain it. If you want the explanation, just go back and watch the videos from the beginning of the data structure series. So now we'll do the hash function. So this class is a little big. It's not too bad, but it's moderately big. But we'll try going through it pretty quickly. I think mostly we're just instantiating arrays of stuff. Excuse me. So I think I'm using the constructor. We're just working through the array. There's a little bit of logic. Add and remove, print, and just the normal methods we usually use. Those ones are quick. But the methods that will be relatively big will probably be the constructor. I did it a little different, so this just takes the data that we're going to instantiate in the array, and it just adds it in the constructor, I believe. So first we're going to create a hash function with the specified data, and then after we're going to just add everything in. So in the meantime, just create a hash function class. So public void hash public class hash function .java. I'm just going to check out something what I have in the main method here. How many times did I instantiate that array? Okay, just once. Alright, so I haven't looked at this code in a long time, so let's just go with it. I've already done it, I've tested it. It should work perfectly. Okay, so I have one order for the values and then a second order. So we're gonna have to instantiate some books with like some special data in it. Alright, so let's start with it. So I'm gonna right click my src folder, and then I'm going to create a class here just called hash function. Hashmap, hash function, whatever you want. So it'll be public class hash function of type T, I believe, using generics of type T. Hopefully my video doesn't stop because I'm running out of space with all the stored videos I have. I did try to make some room, but we'll just work for now. So we'll have to import some stuff here. Import java.util.arrays. Import java.util.arrays. And here we'll import java.util.scanner. You can just import util if you want to. It might slow it down a little bit though. For java.util.scanner, and then here we'll just say we'll create some objects, so an array object reference variable, private int count. I think we could have made, no, we couldn't have made that private. Don't, actually maybe, probably not though, because it's from another class. So then we'll do private int count equals 0. What's up with these? Never used, okay. Private int count. Book array data. I don't know if we'll use all of these, because in my example I created 2 sets of data to just show how they're different. So we're going to need a load factor too. So we'll say load factor points to 0.70. So when it's 70% full, our array is 70% full, we're going to expand capacity to make it bigger. We'll say private int max hash. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a hard time here today because I threw my back out actually yesterday, a couple days ago somehow, when I was working out. So we'll say private int max hash. Then here I'll say private string user input. And then a private scanner scan. That should be all for variables. Alright, so then here we'll create the constructor. Then okay, I have hash function, and okay, I did something interesting. I named the constructor and I think it's the add method. I named them almost similar. I have the H as a capital and one a lowercase. So that's why I was like, well, why do I have 2 constructors? But it's just one. So here we'll just we'll do public. We'll call the constructor here hash function. I'll take a int max hash. As param, so it should be set to 11. Takes max hash as param set to 11. So we'll say scan points a new scanner. Excuse me. System.in. We'll say this dot max hash points to max hash. We'll say data points to new book array of index max hash, and array points to new book array of max hash. So here we're going to store the data. Excuse me. So we'll say, this might take a little while, but we'll just go for it. So we'll say data of index array index 0 points to new book of type string. So we're instantiating objects in our array. So we're saying, okay, well, data of array index 0 points to a new book. So instantiating the new book object in here of type string. We'll call it book 1. And then we'll give it a number. It's like something like that. Then we'll say data. We're going to do 10 of these, so we'll try to speed this up. So next book of type string. I could have just copied them in, but I'm on a different computer, so I'll just copy them over. So we'll say data of array index 1 points a new book object of type string object. We'll call it book 2. And we'll say that the number is like this number. 4129483725. And that needs quote. No, whoops. Book 2. There we go. So here we'll say book data of array index 2 points a new book of type string to book 3 of 124 41 02 938. Excuse me, I'm just falling asleep here again. So data of array index 2 points a new book of type string object. Nope, was that right? Nope, sorry. 41. I apologize, I messed this number up. It doesn't really matter, honestly. I don't think it really matters, so let's just do whatever number. Or else we'll be here all day copying these. So we'll just copy this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 11 of them, I think. Because 0 to 10 would be 11. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And let's just, how many digits are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. That one's fine. I'll just try to do a random number by kind of pressing the numbers to get something. Hopefully they're the right amount of digits. That one's pretty similar. Do something different. Yes, so right now we're just populating the array with some numbers for some data to store. What's wrong with this one? Oh, book 10. Okay, so this is going to be a little different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it just has to be a digit longer. Give me something else. There you go. Alright, so hopefully this is 10 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why is it different length? Okay, because it's array 10. Alright. Alright, so that should be good for now. So let's start with our actual hash function method. So there's a little bit of logic in here. It's not too bad. Maybe about 2 big methods, maybe 3 at the most. 3 big methods, and we got the rest is easy. So this may take a couple hours. I may do it in maybe 2 parts. 3 at the most. So we'll try to speed through this. Hopefully I don't fall asleep while I'm coding. So we will move this up. That's the end of the constructor here. Then I call this method a hash function with lowercase, so I apologize for that, but we'll just go with it for now. So it's a void. It takes so it returns void. It takes a book object of type string array named data, and it takes a book object of type string object array named arr. We'll say int mod points to array.length -1. Here we'll say mod factor equals array.length. Here we'll say boolean complete initialize to false, while complete does not equal to true, or you can do the short form of that. So while basically not complete, that's what it's going to say. Is that you can change it to that. Excuse me, so we'll say for int I is equal to count. I is less than mod factor I++. Yeah, I don't drink coffee, by the way. I don't drink caffeine. Just personally, it makes my heart speed up too much, so that's why I'm like always tired. Unless because I usually don't sleep that much, especially lately. Because I got an exam. I got some exams coming up, so yeah. So here we'll just say array points to arrays.copyof. Array points to arrays.copyof, so we're going to use that method. Actually, before that, let's say for int I is equal to count. So, okay, so we have while complete does not equal to true, or while not complete. For int I is equal to count, I is less than mod factor I++, and we'll say if count is greater than equal to, yeah, we'll put that here. So if count is greater than equal to mod factor times load factor, array points to arrays.copyof array, and then we're passing array or arr.length times 2. Here we'll say mod factor points to array.length and break. So while complete does not equal to true, if count is greater than mod factor, we're going to expand capacity. I believe that's what's happening here. So we're going to make the array bigger. So we're going to expand the capacity. We've seen this method before if you've watched the other videos in this series. There's different ways to expand capacity. That's one of them, using the built-in way, or we could have copied the array ourselves. Oh yeah, so that's why we have another array, by the way, because I I think when I originally first tried this, it didn't save all the memory locations properly, so I had to create another array here, ARR, and that one was used to copy them over. Because if I just tried to use the same one, the original array, maybe hash array, something like that, it wasn't working for some reason. Is it working? I thought I changed it. Okay, we'll just go with that for now. And if there's a problem, we'll come back. So I know right now we're just like, well, what the heck's happening? Well, right now we're just if you're not understanding, you can use the debugger. But right now we're just expanding capacity. If the count is greater than the mod factor times the load factor. So mod factor should be 11. Times load factor should be 0.7. 0.70. So if it's the array is partially full to like that percentage, 70%, then it's going to expand capacity. So don't worry about that right now. We'll just do the actual code first. While complete is not equal to true, so we're having a loop up here to check everything. Then inside we'll be working in the for loop. So we'll have a for int I is equal to count. For if, so I think we're still in the for here. So here we'll say string val under here. And we'll say points to data of array_index I.isbn dot substring 7 through 10. So we're getting that. We're going to use the key. We're going to use the index 7 through 10 as for the key, I believe. Then here we'll say int index points to integer dot parse int. We'll pass in val and then mod to get the actual array. So I'll just put some comments here. So here, we could have made this into a method, by the way, to like expand capacity. Excuse me, but we didn't. So this here is just to expand the capacity if the array is full. So it's going to be looping here. And eventually, once it's full, it'll expand the capacity. Then here we're saying, I'll just write a comment here. So we'll say val is set to array index I to get the key. We'll say that it's the last 3 digits of ISBN. And I think use of substring 7 to 10. Index 7 to 10. We'll just say retrieved by substring method to get index of string 7 to 10. That's it. That's the key, the last 3, which is 7 to 10, last 3 digits of the ISBN. Then the int index, where we're going to be storing it, I believe. Using parse int to change it from the string to the int, because it passes it as an int. That's how I think of it. String to int, I think. Val is a string, yep, and is going to pass it to an int. So the way to remember that is just think parse means pass and then as an int, because you probably will be using that a lot if you're taking a Java class in school or something. in university, college, whatever. So after that, we'll create a while loop here. So we'll say while array of array of index does not equal to null. So while array of index, and the actual index to be passed is called index, does not equal to null. We'll say index plus plus. So then we're going to say that a collision occurred. Am I looking at the right place here? Yep, so we'll say system.out.println. So basically so we're saying if it's not null, then we've already filled the index. Then we're going to say, so right here, if it's not null, that means there's already an element stored there. That means there's a collision. So if you studied hash functions or hash maps, a collision is where a key has been mapped, where a key that you've already used, or a key that you're using now, is mapped to an index in the array that is holding a value. It's already storing a value because you've already mapped that key. So basically you're using the same key again. It gives you the same index from a previous time that you've already mapped an element or an object to. So it's saying, hey, there's already an object here using that key. That's what it's saying. So then we're going to say that we're going to try to increase, so we're going to use linear probing for collisions. So that means it's going to check the next one after the one that you try. So it's going to plus the one, so the one plus the one that you've already tried, the next one up. So if you've mapped to index 12, it's going to go for index 13. After it's going to try index 13. If not, it'll keep trying. Then here we'll print out collision occurred. So hopefully you guys understand. Hopefully I'm not confusing anyone. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He's such an idiot. Like, he thinks everyone understands it. I know how that feels, so I apologize if that's happening. It's like my textbook, pretty much. So here we'll say collision occurred. So collision occurred. Did I spell that wrong? Next available index used. Don't worry if you don't understand now. Just wait till you have the whole code, and once you run it through the debugger, you'll understand. That's what I do if I don't understand it, and it works like all the time. So don't worry. So we'll say collision occurred. Next available index used. Then here we'll say index equals to index modulus mod plus 1. I think that's what this is saying here. It's a shortcut version, like the plus equals, same thing. So plus equals means index, like pretend if there's a plus equals here. You've seen that before. So it's like index equals to index plus mod plus 1. So here we're saying index equals to index modulus mod plus 1. So let's do a comment here saying index equals to index modulus mod plus 1. Just in case anyone's confused, and then here we'll say array of index, no, not array. ARR of array ARR of index, then index points to data of array index I. Array of array index points to data of array index I. Then we'll say count plus plus. We'll say if count is equal to max hash system.out.println max hash full. Add more. For this one, just enter y or n. Just enter n. But you can be set up to store more hash. I think we're just storing 11. Something like that. Then we'll just say enter n for this program. So it can be set up to store more if you want to, that's all it's saying. That should say full. You can select Y or N. Enter N for this program. So it's just telling you to select N for this program. That's it. That's all you have to do. And we'll say user input points to scan.next line. We'll say if user input so if user input dot equals ignore case n complete set to true, hash array points to hash array points to array, hash array points to ARR, if mod is less than count, mod points to array dot length -1 for int j is equal to 0, j is less than ARR dot length, j++. Well, then we'll system.out .println ARR of array index j and break. I think that should be it for the pretty much the base of the hash function here. Should be correct. Hopefully there's no no errors. Just trying to read this, but it should be fine. Hopefully it's right. So we'll just go to the next part now. Find and then remove, and then we're basically done. The rest is just some small functions. So we might be able to finish this pretty quick. Which one are we gonna do now? So find, we'll do public boolean find. What happened here? Okay, there we go. So under that, this one, what's this? It's not telling me that that's the method. Glitching out. Alright, so public boolean find. String key, so it takes a string key. So the find method returns a boolean, takes a string key as parameter. Here we'll say int mod points to max hash -1. Boolean linear pass equals to false. Okay, we need an if is empty. So excuse me, sorry. So we need a if is we need a reference that is empty. So I'll just put that under here. Public boolean is empty. Return It's true if count is less than or equal to 0. Do we have a count? We should have a count. Count. There we go. Do we have a count? It's always good to have a count in a data structure, even in a linked structure. It's best to have one. Even an index. A count or index or both is always good. We can do the size while we're here too, might as well. So public int size return count. And we have some other small methods to do after that, so we'll come back to where we were. Let me just find that in my notes where we were. Alright, so public boolean find takes a string key. So boolean linear pass points to false. If is empty, I'm just gonna have a sip of my water, sorry. Oh, my back. Alright. Yeah, so usually if we're here for like a few hours, sometimes longer videos, 6 hours, I will be taking sips of my drink, so I apologize for that. So here we'll say if is empty. We will throw a new empty collection exception. Here we can throws it up here would be good, so we'll say throws empty collection exception. Throws empty collection exception. That should be it. There we go. So public boolean find string key throws empty collection exception. If is empty, throw new empty collection exception. Here we go, and then we'll say Hashmap or hash function, whatever you want. Then here we'll say boolean found points to false. Boolean found points to false, and then here we'll say int index points to integer.parseInt. Key, and then modulus mod. So boolean found points to false. Int index points to integer.parseInt, passing in key, so we're passing key as an int from a string, or to a int from a string, or from a string to an int. And then we're going to use the modulus operator to calculate that. So a modulus will take the remainder of mod. Sometimes I get confused with that, so if you do too, just use another Java compiler to do the calculations. If you get confused, or just make a note or something. Greater than the number to be modded, less than or equal to. That should help. So then here we'll do for int I. So for int I is equal to index, we'll say I is less than max hash I plus plus. We'll say if linear pass. So we'll say if linear pass is equal to false. Sorry, if linear pass is equal to true. If linear pass is equal to, whoops. So this is saying if, it's a shortcut version of saying if linear pass is equal to true. But if we said not, it would mean if linear pass is equal to false. So if linear pass is equal to true, we'll say I points to 0. Here we'll say if hash array of array index I, hash array of array index I dot ISBN dot substring 7 through 10 dot equals ignore case equals ignore case passing key. So what this is saying is if hash array of index I's ISBN substring, so if hash array of index I's ISBN's substring index 7 through 10 equals key, I believe that's all, then we'll set found to true, system.out found plus hash array, so a formatted string of array index I, and we'll say break, and then here we'll say else, if, so else, and then if, or else if. You can put, I think you can put that on the same line. Oh no, actually maybe, but actually no. So this would, I think it would be different. So else, then if. Actually, it might be the same, but I just did it this way. So if I is equal to max hash minus 1, and end not found, linear pass is set to true, I set to 0. So if it's not that index, search the closest next index. Then here roll if, else. What happened to the else? I didn't open the else. Oh, I think I messed this up somewhere. Damn it. Let's just skip all this for a sec. Let me go back. Apologize for this. So I'll say else, then I'll open a bracket here. Then I'll say if I is equal to, actually I don't think this is else if, because this else has to be associated with one if. If it was else if, then we still need an else down here. So I think that should be fine. So we'll say if I is equal to max hash minus 1 and then not found. We'll set linear pass to true and I equal to 0. Then we'll go down 2 brackets, then the third one. Out of the 4, then we'll say if found. So if found is equal to true, I think. Boolean found. Yeah. So if found is equal to true. Then we'll return true here. Else, we'll put some brackets here too. So we'll say else system.out.println not found, return false. That should be all here. I'll move that bracket up. Then we just have one more biggish one, not too big, but it's just a few statements. So we'll say remove Okay, so where are we working here? Probably down here. So public boolean remove takes a string key. We'll say int mod points to max hash -1. Boolean linear pass points to false. If is empty, throw new empty collection exception. We can throw that thing up there as well. Hashmap. You'll say throws empty collection exception. Here you'll say boolean bound points to false. Int index points to integer. Dot parse int will pass in key. Modulus mod. Here we'll say for int I equals index. I is less than hash array. So I is equal to index, I is less than hash array. Dot length. I plus plus. Then we'll say if linear pass. So if linear pass is equal to true, I is equal to 0. If hash array of index I dot ISBN. What's wrong with that? Hash ARR of array index I dot ISBN dot substring 7 through 10 dot equals ignore case, passing in key. We'll say hash array or hash ARR of array index I dot name points to. Probably could have set them to null as well. This will say hash array of index I dot ISBN points to. We're just resetting the strings here. We probably could have set them to null as well. Either way, it should probably work. And found sets to true. System.out.println key plus the string removed. Then we'll say break. Then we'll say else. If I is equal to max hash -1 and not found. Did we already do this? Break, no, else. Okay, so if I is equal to max hash -1 and not found. Linear pass points to true, I is set to 0. Then 1, 2, 3, down. We'll say if found. Return true. Else, which would mean not found. We'll system.out. Println not found. Return false. That should be all. I think there's an error somewhere, but we'll fix it. I mean, that's a lot of lines of code for not one error. We should have probably a small error somewhere. Last time I had an error, I remember I had one of the brackets messed up. The square brackets. Alright, so we're almost done here. Just a few more methods. So I'm just going to take a little break and I'll be right back and I'll see you guys in a few seconds.